Hello, everybody. How are you? Hi, Rose.
Hello.
I know you're there, but you're all blue today. Are you
Oh,
having
it's
a
because I
blue
have my
day?
window open and my curtains open because it's such a beautiful day and I didn't want to close them again.
But when I look at you, it's all blue.
But I look fine. I don't.
No, what I'm saying is that the whole block is just blue. So I can only see me on a screen and then a blue square next to me.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm here, so I
Uh,
don't know.
I don't know either, but I can rest assured Rose is actually here, and she'll be here through the entire journey. Welcome, guys, back on a Tuesday for the Healing Through Love show. We'd love to welcome you to the Healing Through Love show. We are a social enterprise whose vision is to shift awareness on domestic and family violence within the community and to support survivors. Our mission is to provide family and domestic violence survivors with a soft place to land and offer advice on services available to them and their families.
And as well as the Healing Through Love show, we hold annual Pamper Days for survivors in South Australia and in Tasmania. Local businesses come together on that day and pay it forward and give their services and their resources for the day to give our survivors a much needed day of indulgence, I guess. And each week on this show, we interview experts and survivors who share their personal journeys and their experiences through abuse. And it doesn't really matter where they are in their journey, but they're here to say that yes, it's possible to move forward.
Yeah, that's so true. Thank you so much, Rose. Rose will be joining us back towards the end of today's show for a bit of a fill in on what we're actually doing here in Healing Through Love. But today I'd like to introduce to you our special guest, Kylie Smith. Kylie is a businesswoman, a published author, a consultant, and a speaker. She has overcome many obstacles in her life, and today she would love to truly, well, she actually has epitomized the true walk and her freedom. And, to speak to Kylie is to know freedom. Kylie has worked with women for over 15 years. Wow. She's still not that old, though, and is passionate about helping women move forward and people move forward. In spite of her past, Kylie equips and empowers people to walk in the fullness of all that they are designed to be, taking them on a journey of self-discovery and rebuilding. An encounter with Kylie is an opportunity to learn, grow, and not let anything or anybody hold you back from living your best possible life. Guys, I'd love to introduce you to Kylie, but I know that she's not very far away. There she is. Hi, Kylie. How are you?
It's so good to be with you today.
Such a blessing. Kylie, I would love it if you could share with our listeners today a little bit about your story, just to give some background and some context.
Sure. So I was in a toxic relationship for many years, and I remember this time after that of having being at my lowest point, and I felt my life had no hope, as we do after we come out of something like that. And back 20 years ago is when I came out of this relationship, and there wasn't probably the resource that there is today. I love the education and the services available today. So I remember this pivotal moment where I needed to rebuild my life. I didn't know where to turn to. And I just remember making this choice in this defining moment in my car, actually, and having a conversation with myself and choosing, I guess, that I'm not going to let this, even though I felt at the time I could have. I felt very low, obviously, after, I didn't even know who I was. So I started to rebuild my life and put some things in place to get me to where I am today. And I am passionate about helping other people do the same. So it's an honor to do that.
How powerful it is to make that decision, even when things aren't where they need to be, to make that decision that you want to live a different life. And
Yes.
I really think that that's what that's what we mainly aim to do, but we sort of sit on the fringes around the outside looking in.
Yes.
And if we understood the science behind, making that decision, because then your own psychological immune system kicks in to support you on your choice. But yes, we fight against that sitting on the fence and wonder why things aren't moving forward. I love
That's
it.
right. And knowing we have a choice, like for when you're in a abusive relationship, the choice is taken away from you. So right there, that's an epiphany moment of knowing you have a choice right in that moment. And that can be hard too, just, even the unfolding of all of that you have a choice, not, we can't change our past, but I love this saying that we have the power to rewrite the rest of our story. So that all starts with a choice.
It does. And that choice itself is just empowerment. It's that and a bag of chips. It's really everything. And for most of us on our journey of self-discovery and leaning in and stepping up, it's that making the decision. And for our listeners today, if you are in that space before the decision, Kylie and I would love you to have faith and reach in and make the decision. And even if you don't know all of the answers, none of us did, but we made a decision and we took a step forward. And that's how the journey starts. Kylie, so has this very long ago for you, this situation?
So 20 years ago.
Wow, a long time. Okay.
It is, yeah.
So lots happened for you in 20 years. So can you tell us, after you made that decision, what's happened for you in your life since you've made that decision?
So I never thought that my life, I remember moving away after I had to actually leave the area due to threats on my life from that person. And I remember moving away from my family. It was like one of the hardest things to do, but I needed to do it at the time. And I stayed there 10 years, much longer than I would have liked. And I remember coming home when I left there to come what I call home, where I live now, on the beautiful Central Coast of New South Wales, that how much had changed and how much it was hard. It was a hard 10 years, but it was I left I didn't even recognize the person that went out to that place to the person that came home were like polars apart. So going out, I felt my life had no hope. I just couldn't see tomorrow, let alone next year. And then when I left, I was helping other women in this and other people in the same situation that I'd been 10 years earlier. That right there is such an honor that I never, ever take lightly. So, and now I'm you introduced me so lovely, Charlene, I'm a businesswoman. I'm a consultant where I help I've helped hundreds of women come out from situations of domestic abuse, but also helping people where they have something like a stumbling block, something's holding them back, to discover who they are and help them overcome that. And just recently I've published a book in June, so my first book, and which is also exciting, and helping people with that as well, on just by sharing my journey. We all have a story. Every single person has a story.
It is so, so true. So, wow, this is years down the track, and now a businesswoman and an author, and now paying it forward by helping others who are at that stage where they've made the decision and now moving forward. Yeah.
Yes.
I love it. I love it so much. So, okay. So if you were going to share with our listeners today some golden gems, would you have a couple that you could share with us and talk us through today that could really help people that are maybe pre-decision or made the decision but not quite sure where to go from here?
Definitely. So the first thing for myself and for people I'm working with is around what we believe. So we live out of what we believe, and sometimes there's personal truths that are true to us, but they're not actually the truth. That the most common one I work with people is I'm not enough. So that's actually what gets us into those abusive situations and those making those choices in the first place, because we don't know our value and worth. So stripping that back, like I'm sure everyone's heard, like it's like an onion. So there's so many different layers, and getting back to who you truly are, that is a powerful moment right there. So knowing that you are worth it. You may not feel it, and I'm sure that your thoughts are telling you different. That was probably one of the pivotal moments that I shared in my car, that moment that changed my life forever, was having that choice. Am I going to overcome this and use this as a stumbling block, which it was at the time, or am I going to use that as a stepping stone? And I'm quite determined and used it as a stepping stone. But whether you feel like a strong person or not, you have it in you. But first you need to believe it here, that you are worth it and that you are enough. You know, that right there is the foundation. So that's the first thing. And there's so many little things along the way, like giving yourself permission to shine. Sometimes, again, going back to the belief systems, we don't think we deserve happiness. You know, maybe there's things that had happened in our past that we had no control over, but we can carry guilt and shame. Shame is a massive, debilitating stumbling block in our life. But knowing that you are worth it, that, like I said, you can't change your past, that's gone, but you can change from one choice today, that you have a better future than you do your past. So that you have the power of that. I think there's a key for myself and the people I work with. That is the key. It sounds like a cliche, a bit easy, and, you know, rolls off the tongue, but that is the key right in that, believing you're worth it.
So understanding your level of self-worth and
Definitely.
you're enough.
Yeah.
And then also leaning into that, and maybe, you know, that in itself can be a decision point. If you look around and your life is not supporting you in matching your self-worth, if you're with the wrong person, living in the wrong house, doing the wrong job, having the wrong proximity, eating the wrong food, you know, if these aren't supporting the vision of your life, well, then it's time to change, and you have the power.
Yes.
I love it. That's like a golden gem. What's your thoughts on affirmations then, Kylie?
It is very important. That's actually a chapter in my book on the power of our words. I know for myself, I've always been an encourager or a carer. Like from a little girl, like anyone on their own or anyone struggling, I'd scoop them in and show them kindness and love. It's quite easy, but loving myself and showing myself kindness and self-acceptance was a whole other story. Again, coming back to my beliefs about myself and my worth. So the power of our words, like I often say to my clients, like, would you speak so harshly to someone in front of you who is struggling the way that you critique yourself? Like, that right there is another tool, the power of our words and thoughts and what we speak over ourselves. So I actually have an affirmation, thing in my diary that I read over myself every single day, and it is positive affirmations. Like, there's lots out there. You can either write your own, you can find them all over Facebook and the internet, but there's so much power in, definitely self-affirmation. And remember, would you speak to your best friend like that? Because our relationship with ourselves is so important that I think so often that's the last relationship that we invest into. but it's the most important. We can't go anywhere without being with ourselves. So
Absolutely,
that's so important.
absolutely. So just in summary then, changing our level or having that awareness around our self-worth and our self-belief and our self-esteem, and having a look at our environment to see how that reflects what we're doing, and then especially leaning into language and making sure that you're having supportive language with yourself. Speak to yourself like you would your best friend who wasn't having such a good day. And the proximity of people that you keep as well.
Yes, that's key to having that tribe around you. So there were some things I did intentionally. Oh, hey Melissa, when I came out of this relationship, and one of the intentional things I did was I had to let go of some of the things from the past that weren't serving me. But one thing was being intentional who my tribe was. Like, it's important that is like really a crisis and a pivotal moment when you exit a toxic relationship, whatever that might be, like a marriage, even a friendship, whatever that is. And it's important to have people around you who are going to build you up, that are going to speak life over you when you are like a ball in the floor. And it's okay giving yourself permission to be that ball on the floor for a time and riding the waves of the emotion, but then someone who's going to love you enough to sit on the floor and cry with you, but then they're going to say, you're worth it, time to get up now, darling, and help you get up. So your tribe is, that's a key, another key, lots of keys.
I love it. And the challenge that we've found with lots of people that we communicate with in this area is that their proximity is controlled.
Right.
So the people that they're allowed to hang out with, the conversations they're allowed to have, they've got limitations with how much access they have to online and social media and even their phone in some instances. One beautiful lady we remember helping, like, she didn't have any contact with the outside world, not for 10 years. So therein lies a challenge where if you are corralled, controlled at that level, how do you get that level of proximity with people when your every move is watched and controlled? Like, for me, the only way is up.
Yes, definitely.
And maybe that's the time to reach in and have other conversations. Yeah.
That's right, definitely. And there's, like I said earlier, there's so many services now, that support groups. I remember going to support groups and being around people going through the same thing. Like, honestly, it's hard to write a book on a child. Every child has a different temperament, but a perpetrator of and a narcissist, you're sitting in a room full of people who know where you've been. Like, it could be varying degrees. No one has your exact story, but there's definitely a common thread with narcissists and abusers. So to be around people who get that, and also people who are further on the journey, who, because I know for myself, I had no hope. Like, it all looked dark. What's my future look like? So even in those support groups, there's always, usually the person leading it has been through it. Yeah, so that's what gives you a passion for helping others. So
you're a strong believer in support groups?
Yes, definitely.
Absolutely. I love that. If there was another tip that you could share with our listeners today in and around helping them transition from where they are to where they want to be, what would that be, Kylie?
So the belief, giving yourself permission, not comparing yourself to anyone else. Like, I think it's important to, again, everyone's got a different story. Everyone's got a story. Like, when we see a person in front of us, we only see what they let us show. So knowing that, give yourself permission and celebrate the small wins, the small choices you can choose every day that you have the power to choose. Again, that's a key when you come out. celebrating when you do that. Like when you come out early, from a relationship early on, it could be getting out of bed and making your bed. Like celebrate that. It's okay. You made your bed today. Then next week it might be that you got dressed. Don't compare yourself to anyone else that, oh, it looks like they did it so quickly. No, just give yourself permission to run in your lane. You don't need to look at the person next to you, although it's great to have the support group. I'm not talking about that. But giving yourself permission has been a big key in my life. And yeah, forgiving yourself, forgiveness is something that I was intentional to do. It didn't mean what they did was right, and not at all. But it actually released me to move forward by letting go of that. That was one of the things I needed to let go of. And the hardest person I had to forgive was myself. Much harder than even the perpetrator of that was I should have known better. I should, all this self-talk. And so many intentional things that we now have the power to do. And where we step into, again, sorry to sound like a broken record, but you get to now rewrite the rest of your story.
It's so true. It's so true. And I love that you've taken that next step and you've rewritten your story, and then you've written a book about it. So you've got a book, and it was published this year, and that's available through your website. Is that right?
That is, yes. And it's available at most online bookstores, and yeah, it's exciting.
Oh, that's fantastic. What does it feel like to be a published author?
Someone I know who has written many books likened it to giving birth, and I have to say, yes, it was like giving birth. So I'm actually quite a private person, other than with my clients that are sitting in front of me. So it's like you're putting everything out there. And but when I think of the reader who's going to read that and hopefully get some hope, hopefully get some tools that helped me on the journey, it's all worth it. So
I love it. It's so impactful and empowering for our listeners. So wow, that's a lot to pop into one short space of time. From the book, is there anything else that you can share with us, some additional learnings that we can share with our audience today?
I think sort of just to recap over what we've said previously about your belief systems, like ask yourself what you're believing, the speaking, being intentional with what you speak over yourself. Remember, you're your best friend. Having a tribe, giving yourself permission. So just really recapping what I've said. And self-care. Self-care is key. If you need to not open the door or take a phone call, or you need to go, sorry, some of us are in lockdown, but if you need, you can exercise. So if you need to go for a walk on the beach, whatever your self-care looks like to you, again, that permission, giving yourself permission to do that, and love on yourself. Like, it's hard, but sometimes think, if my friend was struggling, what would I say to her or him? How would I best help them? And take that advice for yourself, because again, you are enough and you are worth loving and showing kindness to. So
I love it, Kylie. That's fantastic. So have you got speaking gigs coming up soon that we can come watch? Are they online or in person?
I have a couple in the pipeline, yes, and currently I'm doing an online course. So I'm writing an online course, so I'm very excited about that. So
that's fantastic. Yeah. Are you using a platform, or are you doing an old school?
So I am currently doing the online course on how to do the online course. I think she uses Thinkerific or something.
Thinkific.
Yeah. So that's the platform she uses.
Okay, so if you are looking for a cheaper option, System is free, and you can just test it, run it, see if you like it, and if you like it, then you can load more onto it. It's really simple. If you can use Canva, you can use that. Thinkific, Kajabi, all of those are much more expensive if you're just starting out. Yeah.
Right. Great.
Yeah. I know I can't help myself. Down, business coach. Behave.
Love it. Love it.
Oh, you can't stop me. Kylie, as always, spending any amount of time with you in your proximity is beautiful. I feel your energy through the camera and you just light up the screen, and any opportunity to share with you is an opportunity to learn and move forward. And I just always find it a blessing. I'm looking forward to you coming back and maybe talking about your online course that you can share with people and what you're going to be doing in that area. We love to have repeat visitors so we can actually see where you're going. And yeah, so we'll make sure we pop your website up underneath and also in the chat so that people can have access to it. Kylie, it's been a privilege and a pleasure to spend quality time with you today.
Thank you, Charlene and Rose.
Thank you, Kylie. Wow, that was so fantastic. We love hanging out with Kylie. We've got Rose coming back with us now to have a little quick of a conversation in and around. You're still blue, Rose, just saying, in and around what's happening with Healing Through Love. So we meet every single Tuesday, same time over your lunch break. So it's lovely to have you here. If you miss the live show, you can always catch the recording. It's lovely to share quality time with you. We are looking for other participants to jump on, and if you've got a story to share and if you can make a difference for people who are survivors of family and domestic violence, please, we would love to help them, take them from surviving to thriving. That's what we're all about here at Healing Through Love. Rose, tell us what's happening in Tasmania.
Well, I am blue. My goodness, I didn't realise. I look fine here on my screen, but never mind.
This is Rose's blue period, just saying.
Blue period, yeah. Tassie, I am organising a men's retreat, and I'm in conversations with several different gentlemen within Tassie and overseas and in Queensland who have run men's groups before or men's retreats. So I'm getting some hints and tips from them. I'm still looking for a venue, but I've been given a few names, so I'll pop messages to those venues and see how we go. I've also been in touch with the Adelaide City Council, waiting to hear back from them to get us a permanent venue in Adelaide. And I will be doing the same for Hobart as well, because the showgrounds are being renovated for when we want to hold our next one next year. So.
Oh, fantastic. So we've got lots happening here in Adelaide. As Rose has aptly said, we are still looking for a location. We've grown and we need a place that's a little larger. Plus we have more participants helping us out, more exhibitors. And so we need extra rooms to create that privacy and, just that lovely intimate feeling of being able to have some energy work on yourself and having a facial and then having your hair done and your makeup done and all the wonderful, amazing things that our exhibitors help us out with. So if you have a service, if you've got a skill set and you're happy to share, if you long to make a difference in the space of family and domestic violence, we would ask you, come reach forward and let us know. You can contact us on Healing Through Love, our website, our Facebook page, everywhere. Our email address is scrolling down the bottom, hello@htlaustralia.org. We're everywhere. And we're looking for some more participants, exhibitors, because we're expanding. And it's such a rewarding feeling. I also want a bit of a brag too, Rose, because, some of the people that came to our original one came back as exhibitors the following year. And that's just a testament to the amount of impact that coming along as a survivor and in that space of a year has empowered those girls to come back with their own business. So that's pretty powerful stuff, guys.
It is good. And it's really great to see them too, how much they've thrived in just 12 months time.
It just makes me cry, Rose. And that's all good. So I'm going to go because I'm not wearing waterproof mascara. It's, as always, a privilege and a pleasure to spend this half an hour with you guys. Thanks, Rose. It's always great to have you here. It's great to have our catch up. And thank you, Kylie, for coming along and sharing your beautiful wisdom with us today. Guys, you've got this. We'll see you next week. Bye for now.